Growing up, most of us, I believe, are made to think politics is for the intelligent and the rich, But what is politics really? I watched an interview on Joy where Dr. Asante of CDD Ghana explained politics as the process of distributing wealth among the society. And of course, he made mention of partisan politics and said any person who critiques the quality of service of a society is a politician. So that makes all of us politicians. Yesterday I was watching the news, people were just venting here and there, you know. And so practically I see politics as the sharing of resources of our land by the help of the government or the people we place in power. It doesn't mean those people are the most intelligent. We put them there to manage our resources because we believe they are qualified for that position, just like any other profession, being it a mason, a tailor, a doctor, a nurse, a musician. And so I've come to understand that we are all gifted in our own capacity to contribute to the development of wherever we find ourselves. Now, what at all makes up politics? What is politics all about? Okay, as I'm sitting here, I need food. So it tells me how important the farmer is. I need shelter. Yes, this room. It tells me how important the constructor, the builder, or the mason is. The how important the architect is. I need health, good health, how important the doctor is, the nurse, how important the gym instructor is. Of course, when we talk of physical well-being, like I can show you my six packs, mental health, the musician, my past post I spoke on therapy, how important security is, the police. Yeah, so there are some points I think would be important to talk about. So when we talk of education, I think we should ask ourselves whether we are enjoying quality and better education, or the government have just employed people who are not passionate or qualified for the job, which is why they take their kids abroad. We should ask ourselves the curricula, is it helping us understand our history? Is it helping us appreciate our language and culture? Because as far as I'm concerned, um, the curricula we've been using makes us feel less of ourselves. So much that we call our own language vernacular. Actually, can Yieyie vernacular. That's crazy. How is religion contributing to education? You see, growing up as a Christian, I've been what I observed was the pastors, trying to put or instill fear in us. They always say we shouldn't get involved in politics and this and that. Meanwhile, when the politicians want to get power, they come to the same churches, and these same pastors kind of feel pompous. We should at least we should understand that we are all part of the development of this nation. Is our school still teaching us Christopher Columbus discovered America? Eh, I believe if we know some history, something, if we know anything about the World War, um, the civil rights movement, the liberation movement, we know anything about the Kissinger report. Hey, I've spoken about this at length in some other videos. Imperialism, and we should, at least if we know some history, it helps us understand that decisions taken in the past is what is affecting Africa today, and why some leaders take certain positions, just like Ibrahim Traore. He's very careful of the people around his borders. At the end of the day, those around can either be security or a threat. If you know something about the World War One, at least you would know that the heir to Austria-Hungary was killed, and they believed the assassination was aided by someone from Serbia. So they had to attack Serbia, and the Serbia whose ally was Russia had to get involved. Now Austria-Hungary, whose ally was Germany also had to get involved. Now, before they would attack Russia, they have to attack France. They have to attack Britain. So European War turned to World War. Just these two So all these things should help us. Knowing our history should help us know that um the things that have happened in the past is decisions taken in the past is still affecting us. So I think we should ask ourselves, how well do we know our founding leaders, people who have fought for Africa? Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, Patrice Lumumba, Sylvanus Olympio, and so many others. These are people who wanted the development of this nation. Are we aware that the CIA contributed to the many assassinations, the many attempted assassinations? Decisions taken in the past, again, I say, is what is reflecting in Africa. Look at Congo. There was a scramble for Africa, 1884 Berlin Conference, where Europeans and other, nations sat down to divide Africa for themselves, which is why they don't want to leave. And just look at what happened in Burkina Faso. Just when Burkina Faso takes France off their system, they are gaining so much. Just when they've nationalized their resources, which Ghana has also done. So it's like we all know, the leaders know what they are supposed to do. Nationalizing our resources have been spoken at length. Everybody knows that this is supposed to be the right way. We have so many resources in the various regions which can benefit the people of the regions themselves. But you see, I've come to understand that the main issue in Africa also has to do with classism. So even not until the year of return, people in the diaspora believed Africa was a country. Is it not amazing? So that should tell you how important or influential the media is. In fact, I spent some time in Boko. That before I would go there, the media portrayed that place to be so crazy. But when I got there, I noticed the people were so lovely. Like, they were so lovely. So sometimes, if you are not on the field, it makes you, interpret things different. So health, how is our health service? Recently a man in Nigeria complained that the negligence of a doctor caused the death of his wife, his pregnant wife. And I can even share my own, where I took my mom to the hospital. We got there as early as I think around 6-7, and we attended to around 4 p.m. What I noticed was there is shift. The doctors run shift. In fact, the doctor runs shift. So the doctor I observed closed, and there was an interval of about 2 hours to 3 hours before the next doctor came, which was very, very sad. And so many patients had to wait. Now, from what I have shared so far, we should understand that we are part of the development of this nation. So we are supposed to contribute. If something is going wrong, we are supposed to critique whatever the quality of service. Now, some people complain of hospital beds. Even the most prestigious hospitals do not have hospital beds. Almighty Galamsey. And Galamsey, we know very well, has destroyed the lands and has polluted our water bodies. I watched an interview where Ralph, an activist, said most of the chobas we are eating from, the meat, the grass cutters and all that, they also drink from these streams. So in effect, we are taking in poisonous stuffs. Now that in fact he said, this is why so many babies are born with defects. Now food. For so long, people in the diaspora have been jealous of our bodies, the African body. People have been jealous of us. Then suddenly, we are talking about GMO, which we believe has no nutrients. We have lived in Africa here. We have enjoyed the good, tasty, natural food of this land, and we are able to survive. We are able to, grow very strong, which is why, in fact, people are also coming here to taste our food. Suddenly, we want to accept something like GMO. And we know very well this is, if at least if you know something about history, you would understand this is also to control the system. If your food is controlled, you are dead. People, leaders want to control everything, every single thing, and it is disturbing. This is very disturbing. If we don't protest against this, it's going to disturb us in the near future. Now, our transport service. How are we able to transport our goods or the food from one region to another region? We are very much aware how Nkrumah wanted what the United Front and the he wanted us to have great marketing between Africans. We all know this, which was why he was pushing industrialization here and there. The importance of the resources in every region to serve the people of those particular regions. We know all this. At least the leaders know all this. And at least we should know that when there is increase in fuel price, the foodstuffs are going to be increased, right from the people who would export them or import them. And the market sellers are also going to increase per how they receive the price. So they are all interconnected, whichever way we take this. Now, security. How is our security system? Just last year, I was trying to pay a little attention to our security system, and you can imagine what happened. So many Momo vendors were attacked just last year. So many Momo vendors were attacked. Someone went to cash out from the bank, and right in the middle of the street, armed robbers attacked the person. That was, I think, a lady at gunpoint. And we are all saying we are very much aware of this. And thankfully, we've agreed Ghana is the most peaceful country in the world. So if this I'm witnessing makes Ghana's security very tight, then I wonder what is happening in the other countries. I wonder. It's quite unfortunate. But then again, we thank the police service at least for not making us, get to that height, as in the negative height. We appreciate them, and I think this year it has been good because I read some comments online when in some countries some robbers escape, they would write if it was in Ghana, like the following day police have arrested them. Like I'm very grateful our security system, our police are very much swift at this. So kudos to Ghana police, but I believe we can do better. If it's wrong, we have to talk about it. How best are we controlling our natural resources? Our gold, our bauxite, we produce the gold, yet we produce cocoa, yet Switzerland is gaining more than us. I remember watching an interview where Kofi Cranton spoke about this, and it's as though the Ghanaians, the citizens actually know what we are supposed to do. The politicians know what we are supposed to do. People spoke extensively on why we should nationalize our resources. And now see, just when gold, now just see, look at this. By nationalizing our gold alone, see the kind of changes that is happening. When Burkina Faso did same, sacked France. All of a sudden, see, and for what I have gathered, I learned no African country gets more than 5% royalty out of their out of their resources. And when people complain about this, not more than 5%. Like, that is crazy. Not more than 5%. This is not even 50% to 5%. So most people are getting, or countries are getting 0.001, 0. Oh, that's amazing. So I think if we don't talk about these things, it's going to disturb us. It's very important we teach and know that they are all very much important. Now, do we employ people who misuse power? Do we hold them accountable? And in fact, the freedom of speech, we are supposed to protest against anything that is against our civic rights. Last year, for instance, people were arrested because they spoke against the government. They spoke against things they believe wasn't right. So that's about the freedom of speech. I say we are all part of the development of this nation. So if the government have brought in trains, or they've been able to construct new railway lines, why should we vandalize them? Why should we even steal the lines? And it's just unfortunate. At least we should also know that most of the foreign aids have funded terrorists and are still funding terrorists. So how is our security fighting or combating this? Employment. I made a video where, the Yieyie, the Youth Employment Agency, said we're going to employ some people, I think 300,000 or 300 or so. The Yieyie reported that see the stampede. That was even Greater Accra alone. Not the other regions, so Greater Accra alone. The whole of Conference Center was filled. And some people can say, oh, as for Ghanaians, they don't like working. Did it look like Ghanaians don't like working? So it's just like people want to work. Ghanaians, I believe, are hardworking. Africans are naturally hardworking. Just that it's my hope that there is enough job to, and are people equipped with the right gadgets? Even when we are employed, are we equipped with the right gadgets? Recently, fire service was quenching some fire somewhere, and you should look at the things they were using. Sometimes they get to the spot and they cannot even get water. They don't even have water to quench the, and it's sad. Development. Are we able to hold the leaders accountable? When there's corruption in the system, when a minister runs his term, are we able to hold them accountable for all that they have done? Because for what we have gathered, our finance minister is in trouble because what is alleged he has embezzled some money. We learned a cathedral was going to be built for Ghana. National Cathedral. Can you imagine? And we never saw that. The Giftiyose is alleged to have, taken some money using ghost names. Are we going to hold all these people accountable? So so as a citizen, I believe we are supposed to talk. We are supposed to make sure things are going right in our country. Thank you.